It's all of us. And whether it's developing a groundbreaking treatment or helping a girl realize her dream, everyone has a role in a child's cancer journey. Just ask researcher Brandon Moriarty about his latest breakthrough, a genetic biomarker treatment.
Children's Cancer Research Fund is a great organization. They provide funding to really dig deep into the research and make more progress. We were able to start a clinical trial that's led by Emily Greengard.
The hope is that these types of therapies are going to be more effective and a lot better tolerated, a lot more safe for the patients.
People ask me how I keep a smile on my face. It's easy when you have so many great people that take care of you and support you.
To find out how you can be a part of a child's cancer journey and a part of the cure, visit childrenscancer.org. A public service message from Children's Cancer Research Fund.
News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. Be a part of the show by calling 915-544-KTSM, 915-544-5876, or comment online on our stream at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. It's 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means it's time to talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk. You know what day it is. No, we're not talking about Wednesday. It's, of course, Friday, and if you were at all confused about that, you're welcome. Hope you've got your plans good for the 4th of July weekend, of course, that we are looking on to. It is the end of the week. It is a new month with the holiday weekend on deck for us here. You know that this is a pretty perfect time for us to get into Free For All Friday, that very important day of the week when we are taking your comments and calls throughout both hours of the program as much as we can cram in. And I'm sure we'll get to a lot of things. I mean, there's been some very busy news weeks. Not that anytime the Supreme Court is in session and announcing decisions, it isn't, but even got some stuff going around here locally, including more potential effects on some of those very anticipated, legal proceedings in our area, particularly involving the August 3rd shooter. More on that here in just a bit. Quite an interesting scene from our news partners and others reported widely around the area today in a courtroom leading to a gag order. We'll get into that here in just a minute. Plus more details on what is coming out on some, shall we say, downstream effects from some of those previous Supreme Court decisions, particularly on when it comes to guns, gun rights, gun laws, etc. So we'll get into that and a whole lot more. And so if you want to chime in over on the social media, our days people dropping those likes and reacts, we do appreciate it. Robert Haynes, Michael Robert Tipton, Flaco Jimenez. But you can also call in during the show. That number to do so, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. And RJ, that's a pretty good emoji representation of the situation. Though I will say that this gag order is affecting all parties involved, both the prosecution and defense. So as much as I would definitely love to, looks like we won't have an opportunity before any potential case date comes out of talking with the district attorney about this. So So we'll just stick with the statement there. Just to lay that out here briefly, as a lot of reporting both from our news partners over at KFOX 14, El Paso Matters, really most major outlets in town. One of the better headlines I'll give the credit for here from El Paso Matters: judge issues gag order after slamming El Paso DA over comments in action on Walmart trial. According to them, putting it at about a half hour, essentially dressing down is the way it's being described about what has or hasn't, in this case, been going on within the district attorney's office, and not taking a lot of it. So if there's any confusion on it here, the court date that was announced previously, last month now, I suppose, was the federal trial date of January of 2024. And then earlier this week, the district attorney, Yvonne Rosales, sent out that message about, okay, we hope that there will be the state trial date within the next year. And that was a serious part of the whole response going on here. Again, from 409th District Judge Sam Medrano citing that release, and again, leading directly to the gag order, saying that preventing prosecutors, defense lawyers, law enforcement officers, and witnesses from discussing the case with the media, saying, quote, The grandstanding ends today, end quote. Again, a 30-minute hearing during which he noted by, again, El Paso Matters repeatedly criticized Rosales before reporters, attorneys, and shooting victims' families who packed the courtroom. He made it clear his complaints were directed at Rosales. So that's at least some update there. The indicted shooter was not in the courtroom for this, but we will see how this then works out for the progression of that case. Will be an interesting one. But let's go out to those phone lines now, or at least start on the phone lines, as we definitely need to do here for this Friday. Again, that number to call if you wanted to join in that way, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. We do have Benny over in Central on the line with us here right now. Benny, thanks for joining us.
Yes, I have something about, I have a comment. I'm not going to comment on that, but there is in the books, the federal statutes about hate crime, and that, and I'm going to, I'm addressing these two. There is still a lot of racist people living in this community, and if they don't like this city, that they should leave it, because this is still occupied Mexico, and it was taken. Texas was stolen from Mexico. And one thing for sure is that anytime that you and you know, so even if you put, you burn the crosses of people's yards or put KKK and figures of people's property, you will be investigated. Because I have talked to detectives from the El Paso PD, and they do investigate hate crimes, and that is taken very seriously.
I should hope so.
Of course, I'm addressing this that it's not beating of a person who is a certain sex or whatever sexual preference. There's federal statutes, and it's enforced. And one thing for sure, once when I was talking about for cultural diversity has made this country a great country. When you have different ethnic groups. I enjoy it and I like it, and when I hear different languages too. And one thing for sure, Austin, Texas used to be mostly a white city many years ago. Now it's culturally diversified, and so is UT Austin. So it looks to me like a lot of those biggest don't want to see cultural diversity. They have a lot of hate in their hearts, but there is a hate crime, and they ought to be made aware of. Whereas if they send emails that are making threats against a minority or person of a certain situation, but I have talked to law enforcement, and those are investigated, and those can carry a very heavy penalty and also a fine. That's all I have to say. Well, you all have a happy 4th of July. Bye-bye.
You as well. Thank you very much for the point in the call there. Might disagree with you on some of the finer points of the historical interpretation, but I'll agree with you on your major point there that I don't have a lot of time for anyone out there. It's like, this insert X group there, don't really like them, don't think they should be around anymore. First thing, it's not up to you, because the idea that anyone's existence should predicate on your approval of them is, at best, it should be laughable, but there's way too many people out there that unfortunately have that kind of idea behind them that, well, wouldn't it just be better if X group, whatever, insert name here, because I can guarantee you, spend enough time on the internet, you'll find someone not wanting some group to exist for whatever reason, and resoundingly, all of it is wrong. Categorically. I find no room to quibble on this point here, so I'm glad to find out that, and if you're referring to there, that the El Paso Police Department does more investigation onto it, because that's probably a good thing. Because anyone saying, oh, we don't want those kind here, you're not going to find me doing much agreement, if at all, and probably more vehemently not against it. Some more comments on there, including Fred Marquez about war being declared for independence. So like I said, definitely disagree on some of the finer points of the evolution of history there. I mean, if anything, would be considered the more part of it. Take it up with Santa Anna, to be perfectly honest with you. Want to go over the Gadsden Purchase and how he may or may not have pocketed directly all those funds here. Yeah, I'm just saying I'm very happy with the way El Paso is situated now, and I'm still very bullish on El Paso in a lot of ways here. But let's get back to those phone lines, as we will do this both hours of the program. Again, that number to call, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. We have another call on the line here right now. You're live with Talk El Paso. Who's this?
This is Andrew from the West Side.
Hey there, Andrew. What's on your mind?
Well, before I go into my major topic today, I wanted to correct Benny. What he says that the United States stole Texas from Mexico, that is quite incorrect.
Yep. Again, one of the more finer points that I'm going to disagree with on that previous statement. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, it was agreed upon that the United States would pay Mexico $15 million and also to pay off claims of American citizens against the Republic of Mexico to the tune of over $5 million US dollars. Now, that was a lot of money back then, over $20 million.
Yep. I mean, the amount of purchase amount, including the Gadsden purchase, again, roughly $10 million there was pretty significant. And again, Santa Ana is such a fascinating figure when you look it up further in history, because whether or not he actually made off with that money is a somewhat contested point there as well.
Well, there's been scuttlebutt that the funds were appropriated south of the border by certain individuals in the Mexican government and never made it into the coffers of the Mexican treasury.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. My second point today was the other day in Madrid, President Biden was asked by a reporter, how long do the people of the United States have to endure these high gas prices, inflation, and the high prices of other items like food and other necessities? His response was, as long as it takes.
Yeah, a couple of people have sent that particular quote and clip to me here today. I believe that was Brian Deese being interviewed there as part of it, or at least one of the people saying it alongside of it, which is, okay, even if you totally believe that should be necessary, your messaging sucks, my dude. Like, seriously, that's just like just kind of like sit there and take your medicine. How did he expect that to play? I'm very curious to know.
Well, Joe Biden is no orator, and he's no Ronald Reagan for one. But I would just suspect that he when he's not speaking with his teleprompter, his mind, as you say, goes into a kerfuffle.
I do like that word because it is A, underutilized, and B, very applicable to a lot and probably too many situations we discuss on this program.
Yes, sir. Anyway, I digress, and I turn the mic over to you. Happy 4th of July, or Happy Independence Day, I should say.
Absolutely. Either way you slice it, I hope you have a wonderful weekend as well.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. I mean, yeah, there's a lot to get into on these issues. And yeah, I mean, the point, though, that is making all the headlines on this point here, whoever taught this guy, again, this Brian Deese guy, to make his word selections, like, I would think it would be rule 101 to maybe remove the phrase any world order, much less liberal world order, from your lexicon, because however you think that's going to play, I guarantee it's not going to be a positive way. Like, seriously, whenever you've been like, oh yeah, the new world order or the whatever world order, just, okay, maybe I look at too many weird things on the internet, but let's just say the negative connotations abound. But that's just one part of it here. And a lot more comments coming in on some of these subjects here, including RJ, Flauco Jimenez, Fred Marcus, John Browselton, and more. John bringing up the idea of the conservative Supreme Court ticking off political opponents, which, I mean, if it's a fringe factor, fine, but I guess I frown on it as a primary justification for about any action. But also noting that the senator from New Hampshire broke his hip and the Senate can't do anything for 6 weeks. There's going to be a lot more to come from that, I'm sure, and I wonder if maybe those pandemic-era policies in terms of attendance are still in place, or should be in any case. But tell you what, we got to take that first break of the hour here right now, but you are certainly locked in here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. We're going to be taking your comments and calls both hours of the program, so if you're on the line, stay there. Otherwise, if you want to call in, that number to do so is 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. We'll get into all of it after this break here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Don't go anywhere. If you really want to talk about getting the flavor of the world and not in any kind of weird way, something that I really appreciate is the different kinds of styles of food, the way that it comes around the world. Whenever I travel, it's one of the parts that I look forward to the most. local cuisine, the local flavors, the stuff that may not even have occurred to you or be available in your local area. And as much as travel is still a little bit of a question mark, at least internationally for me and probably for many others, I am very happy to know that there is a great local source to get some of those flavors and incorporate it into my own family's cooking and everything right here in the borderland with enhanced flavors. They have 40 plus varieties of extra virgin olive oil, flavored olive oils, and balsamic vinegar sourced from some of those best places in the world, including Italy, Tunisia, Greece, and Spain, but available right here. They've got a good stock and can get it right to your door. Often find them out in the, area when you're going to farmers markets and the like. Particularly, they like going out to the Country Club Farmers Market happening Saturdays, 10 to 2 p.m. usually, but you can find their full selection, including more than you might expect, pastas and a whole lot more over again online, enhancedflavors.com. And be sure to enter with your next order that code at checkout to get 15% off your next order. Just hit EF Radio into that box asking for your code. Again, that code EF Radio and get 15% off your next order when you go to enhancedflavors.com. That's enhanced with a D, flavors.com.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
El Paso traffic, police and medical are dealing with an injury accident I-10 eastbound at Reynolds. Disabled vehicle block of the right shoulder, I-10 westbound at Trans Mountain. Injury accident showing up on Hawkins Boulevard northbound at the 10 Gateway. And an accident reported Sun Valley Drive east of the Patriot at Kenworthy. Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
One-on-one with Susan Eisen.
Setting my very first diamond 30 years ago in my garage late at night took me 5 hours to do. Since then, our priority is the quality of our work.
When it comes to the highest quality control standards, visit SusanEisen.com. One-on-one with Susan Eisen.
Every diamond in our store is personally selected and graded by me to ensure you're getting more value than what you are paying for. That sets us apart.
When it comes to expert advice on diamonds, visit SusanEisen.com.
The economy is heading for a total disaster. The Fed must choose between a stock market and housing market crash or hyperinflation. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to diversify your retirement savings into physical gold today. To help you get started, my friends at Birch Gold have created a free information kit on gold IRAs. To get your free copy, just text Safeguard to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required. Again, that's Safeguard to 989898.
Why should you volunteer with Meals on Wheels?
I never thought that 5 minutes could make so much difference in the lives of two people, but it has.
Drop off a warm meal and get more than you expect. Volunteer at americaletsdolunch.org. Brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. A lot of ways to chime in on the show, particularly on a day like today. Free for All Friday is that thing that we're doing. So if you wanted to chime in, more than welcome to do so. Social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.tv, either at Andrew J. Polk or Talk El Paso. find us where y'all at, and that'll be the best way for you. Or you can call in on the line. That phone line open now, and the number to call there, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Taking all those comments and subjects here today because there's pressure relief valve for the week is how I always think about this, because there's more than we can ever really hope to get to, even with a couple hours each day, but we do our best shot and we'll squeeze in everything we can here today. Some of the comments coming in, Calvin Williams wishing us good afternoon to you as well, and a lot of the people chiming in and dropping those reacts. We do appreciate it, including Calvin Williams, Robbie Flores, Monica Cervantes, Robert Haynes, Michael Robert Tipton, and Flaco Jimenez. Be sure to check out particularly the podcast for Mr. Tipton there, as he is doing the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, talking about sports from a local perspective. So be sure to check that out also on our partner station, Fox Sports 1380, also airing over there live on recorded at 5. So whatever works best for you to find them also on podcast services. But let's go back to those phone lines right now. Again, that number to call is 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. We do have Raul in the Northeast on the line with us here right now. Raul, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Andrew. Well, InfoWars host Alex Jones, I'm sure you've heard of him. He's a real nut job. There's some of your posters that believed him when he was hawking that false flag conspiracy theory that he got sued for. Anyway, he says that Trump will announce his 2024 presidential run on the 4th of July. Now, if Alex is right about that, then obviously Trump's track record is up for evaluation and criticism, starting then, as soon as he announces. Because he's regularly in the news. I mean, come on. The January 6th committee, he's in the news all the time because he's a traitorous dictator, a wannabe dictator. A British documentary filmmaker by the name of Alex Holder recently testified behind closed doors to the House January 6th Select Committee, and he said that former President Donald Trump is living in cloud cuckoo land and is not a rational player. And I agree with that, gentleman. I think Trump is delusional, dopey, and demonic. And yesterday, the day before yesterday, conservative Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney called Trump a domestic threat we have never faced before. And she told her fellow Republicans that it is impossible to be loyal to both Trump and the U.S. Constitution.
I'm not going to disagree with you on the idea that Trump is not a relevant point of discussion. I mean, he has been campaigning pretty much this whole time, more on the donation levels than now. But here's the point at which we start having more of our disagreements than usual, is when we keep coming down to these ideas of, well, the terms we've already started getting into here, and not discussion about his points necessarily. I mean, the fact that we have had in previous discussions here, the idea that you couldn't even possibly, even with your own imagination, imagine something that you would agree coming out of this administration, just points to more than a little bit of we're not really analyzing here anymore. And I think that's the issue that I, and to a larger extent, more other people have. So is there specific things about policies that you would like to mention if you really wanted to get into analysis of a next potential term of office or at least a run for such for another Trump administration?
Well, I'd rather talk about what historian Stephen Beschloss, a very well-known presidential historian and author, recently said. He says, the name Trump will endure as a blight, an insult, a schoolyard taunt, a reminder of how close we came to losing democracy and how elected leaders of a major party were cowed by this man who valued nothing but money, power, self-aggrandizement, but was in fact a desperate failure. So that's where I'm coming from. He was terrible. He inherited a good economy, and he ended up with a crashed economy and an insurrection. I don't see what was so good about Donald Trump.
I'm not even saying that you have to believe there is something good about Donald Trump. There's plenty of criticisms I would have of this, as I would pretty much any administration. Pick one, and I'll tell you something that they really screwed up about, but not exactly. I mean, I'm not trying to make this as and everyone's wrong, so therefore, why should we care when someone is wrong kind of way? Because we should absolutely care when someone is wrong, though. Again, a finer point to be made is about how current economic policies are being dealt with. And yes, we've talked about the idea of things being dealt with from the previous administration. But again, I don't think you're making the argument you realize you're making when you say, and therefore there can be nothing done, because almost like win or lose, good or bad, impotence in office would be almost one of the worst things. Like, then what would justify, if there's literally nothing to be done, what would then justify giving that same administration another shot at it? I mean, there's already some discussion even within the Democrat Party about the potential or not of a second term or even a second run of a Biden administration. And yeah, that's its whole own other conversation entirely. But again, the point and question I was asking is, could you even imagine something on your own that you would support a potential Trump administration, since we're, of course, out of the first one, doing? Because, I mean, if you can't even imagine on your own, then that raises additional questions.
First of all, I don't want him for president again. And I don't think most Americans do either, as a matter of fact. A political party like the Republican Party that backs a former president who tried to overturn an election and incited an insurrection is no longer a political party. It is a terrorist organization.
See, okay, and then when we start getting into that level of questioning on is like, and therefore they shouldn't be allowed to be a part of it, that is one of those bright line items that's, I don't really care about the political expediency attached with it, whether, oh man, I just don't want to have to deal with this guy. Again, a pretty transparent effort that is going on with the entire January 6th committee, as we've talked about the investigation or lack thereof, is as political consequences. That's the major point of both what is going on and what they want out of it. Because as many people are saying, oh, it's not fair how they're doing it, they're not hearing from people that disagree with them. That's literally baked into the process. This is not a trial, not an investigation as a further point, but it's not even a judicial legal proceeding because it was never designed to be. And this is not as, and therefore they're cheating on it. It's like, literally, that's the nature of the beast we're discussing here with that committee, because what it is a political process. And again, I do not mean that and therefore it's wrong. It's just, it is what it is. And frankly, if anything, it demonstrates even further the consequences of elections, because the reason they are being able to hold this as such, and why I think continued hope's getting pinned on this, is if there is a change of leadership, particularly within the House, not even talking about the Senate or any other like state level bodies here, because the House is the one that maintains the subpoena powers and the ability to do these kind of hearings. So the House, more than anything, as much focus as there been on the Senate, and particularly the very thin line there, the leadership of the House and the control of the committees therein is one of the more consequential things, at the very least, in response to what has been going on lately. Because without the maintaining of the control of that, these hearings, I can practically guarantee, are going to end or maybe even be flipped on their head. Start doing some of the other questions that have come out from like McCarthy and others. But beyond all of that, to say that there's not even I wasn't surprised that you don't want another Trump term of office. I don't think anyone would be surprised at you feeling that way either. But the fact that you can't even imagine there being something that a potential office could do, there's a phrase out there when you're talking about philosophy and logic about non-falsifiable. Essentially, that it's, well, essentially a litmus test of if something is truly a belief or a fact, opinion or fact here. And we are dealing strictly with the area of opinions here, as is, I guess, not necessarily surprising to anyone, but there's actually ways to get it and measure it. So appreciate the point in the call, as much as I find myself being more interested in actually getting into the policy. Is a reason we focus on policy on this show as much as we do when we're talking with elected officials. So tell you what, we're going to take that next break now. Coming out of this next break, we will get to more calls in the line, more of the comments, and a whole lot more. But stay tuned for more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Again, that number to call if you wanted to get on. Not quite full ups if you want to squeeze in. 915-544-5876, 544 KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Hello, everyone. This is Robert Olguin with your KFOX 14 News Update. Some strong words today in an El Paso courtroom. The judge in charge of the Walmart shooting murder case blasted the El Paso district attorney, accusing her of being unprepared and saying too much. A few days ago, El Paso DA Yvonne Rosales issued a statement saying that she hoped the state trial against the accused gunman could start next year and that she would seek the death penalty. Judge Medrano asked Rosales why she would say such a thing when her office has yet to file a single court filing regarding the case. Judge Sam Medrano went on to issue a gag order restricting prosecutors and defense attorneys from speaking about the case. This has been your KFOX 14 News Update. I'm Robert Olguin.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
On your El Paso freeways, watch for a crash with injuries. I-10 eastbound at Reynolds, it's blocking the right lane. Police and medical on the scene, causing a bit of a backup. Border Highway eastbound before Padres, an accident's blocking the right shoulder there. I-10 westbound at Airway, a stalled vehicle's blocking the left shoulder. And South Desert Boulevard, southbound after Red, an injury accident. You could take Red to Donovan Drive as an alternate. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
Monsoon season continues with showers and storms in the forecast each and every afternoon. Expect a mostly cloudy sky tonight with a 20% chance for a few isolated showers and storms, and overnight lows will settle into the lower to middle 70s. Coming up tonight, we'll talk about below average temperatures for the upcoming weekend, followed by an uptick in showers and storms for the 4th. From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kira Miner.
This report is sponsored by SRGExpress.com. The specialized recruiting group takes an individual approach to placing people in contract and full-time roles, and they're ready to help you find your next opportunity. Visit SRGExpress.com to get connected with an employment expert.
Are you getting letters from the IRS? Did you know that the IRS can take your house and empty your bank accounts without even notifying you? VersiTax can protect you from all of this. VersiTax client Catherine Valdez.
Using VersiTax, I saved over $33,000.
Call VersiTax and discover all the latest relief programs you qualify for in the first free call.
IRS, getting it off my back was definitely a stress relief. I could sleep good at night, no more IRS letters, clean slate. I'm actually getting refunds back. It's amazing.
Call VersiTax for free tax relief information. The call is free. The information is free.
Customer service was amazing, and I would definitely advise anyone to go with VersiTax.
Call 800-202-7709. That's 800-202-7709 for your free tax relief information call. 800-202-7709. 800-202-7709.
If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply. This report is sponsored by Discover.
There won't be much substance on your news feed until you add us. Just like us or click on the link at KTSMradio.com.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm going to let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the many various social media places we're up on these days: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. The main one still probably, for the most part, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, because that's where a lot of the comments coming. I mean, the YouTube is definitely moving on its own, but that's where the Thunderdome of comments and the Skeptic Squad tends to live more or less every day, particularly on a day like today. Free for All Friday is what we're doing. We're taking on all those comments and calls here. So phone line's full up at the moment, but if you want to try and get and squeeze in later, That number to call, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Let's go ahead and get back right into it here right now. There's a lot of comments coming in as well. We do have Maria on the east side here with us right now. Maria, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I just want to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 points. Why is there so much anger towards one individual? I mean, is nobody seeing that the damage that's being done to our stock market is affecting Democrats and Republicans? The gas, it's not just the Republicans that are paying a higher price. Mm-hmm. Why is everybody negating the situation that's going on right now? I mean, it's just astonishing to feel the hatred towards one individual. It's not, I don't know what happened. We have no communication. And this gentleman, it's just anger. Mm-hmm. I worry that we're not, it's like, no. It's my team that has to win. Everybody is suffering right now. Have some compassion. I am conservative. And I mean, I'm not going to hide from that. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I am not attacking individuals. I wish we could fix this and not act like, oh, this isn't happening. No, look at the stock market, look at gas, look at inflation, look at prices for mortgage, look at the mortgage rate went up. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's just mind-boggling that we're acting that, this gentleman right now, President Biden, I mean, he walks on water for them. There's a lot of things that are bad. Uh-huh. I'm not attacking all Democrats. They have to open their eyes as to what's going on. And if you want to hate Trump, you're entitled, but you cannot say that everybody that thought he was doing certain things that were benefiting the country, we're not a terrorist group. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it goes a little bit too far for me sometimes. I'll agree with it there. And that's kind of to your point there about we've got some real situations that we're dealing with here. Why I sometimes prefer to sometimes cut through the partisan clutter, the finger pointing anyway, and go to, okay, we've got realities we are dealing with here and real situations on the ground. What can we do to change and effectuate those? And I'm not really attached to whoever ends up coming up with a solution that'll actually work so much as I want it to be put in place and work.
Yeah, and you know what? Some people, maybe we can afford an extra $10, $20 or $30 on our gas tank. I know. I have relatives. I have family members.
Oh, yeah.
Their paycheck to paycheck. As a matter of fact, they don't even make it to the next paycheck.
Yeah, and I think more people are being,
Let's have some compassion. I mean, let's try to work this through, but don't come on the air and just say how much you hate and how, this commission, this January 6th group, I mean, they didn't allow the Republicans to nominate who they wanted the committee. This was handpicked. Let's not act like this is a legal procedure. This is dirty from day one.
I mean, yeah, it's literally not a legal procedure. It is a political one, and not even as a way it's been maneuvered, but by its very definition, any of these committees are going to be exactly like this, which is, again, why elections matter, is the sub point I like to make.
Definitely. And I want to make one other comment. My mother is from Mexico. She's from a state called Guanajuato, and our background is that we have Nahuatl. I mean, the language of the Aztecs is in that area.
Okay.
So how much Indian blood do I have? I don't know. That's not important. But it does bother me that they have an Aztec mascot here. Has anybody seen what our Aztecs relatives did? Human sacrifices. I get, they don't like my European part because they were terrible in colonizing. And have they seen what my indigenous bloodline did? I mean, if we're going to call people out, let's call them out. All of them. Let's just not act like, this one was there praying at the temple. They weren't. They did human sacrifices, and that is my family bloodline.
It's an interesting point you make there, yeah.
So, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, either we stop this or we do it evenly with everybody.
Interesting point there.
I mean, if we're going to call people out, let's call people out evenly. Let's be honest. Let's be fair. Let's not act that just the white part of me is bad and not the Aztec blood or nautical background that I have. That's ridiculous. Let's not have them as a mascot. Let's put it that way.
Interesting point there. And Eric von Holstein-Rathlow saying the Aztecs has a nice calendar at the very least, which I take with the mild tongue-in-cheek. I think it's anticipated. But there's a phrase I think of a decent amount that applies very much to the entire sentiment you're expressing here, and it's that if the study of history only ever makes you proud, you're probably not studying history. And that applies.
Exactly.
That applies everywhere.
I'm willing to accept both sides. Then let's not act like there's not some bad parts on the other part of my family. I mean, I agree. Anyway, I get upset that we are so mad at everybody. It's like, let's try to fix this. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to listen. Let's kind of work together, please.
No, absolutely. I'll agree with you on that point.
Thank you, Andrew. I just get very, very upset. So much anger from towards one person. Thank you.
No, sure thing. Thank you very much for the point in the call. You have a great holiday weekend.
You too, darling.
All right, bye-bye. I mean, yeah, the study of these things is important. One of the ways I also think about it, particularly on the entire Aztec situation, is depending on how you grew up or what you were taught growing up specifically, your opinion of the specific character of La Malinche may be very different, depending on how you think of it. In the most historical readings I do about it, essentially either as the betrayer of Mexico, the liberator of it, the vanguard of the colonization. Again, a lot of different interpretations of it in the historical study of it, beyond the cultural implications. Because there's, the Café La Malinches around here. There's the half dozen that have counted on my own just driving around town. The concept of this being one person that united all these peoples against the Aztecs, sure, there's a grain of it. But really what it shows is that there were a whole lot of people at contemporaneous with the Aztecs super unhappy about that rule, and also the way that status within that empire was justified by the amount of people that you brought in to be. I mean, you want to really dig into it. Yeah, there's a lot of messed up things. And again, in any realm of history, but even within this one. And the reason that it was able to do so, I mean, it's often talked about, the conquistadors came in and were able to overthrow them because they were so weak. No, it's because they led a literal rebellion against the essential, ruling class of the Aztecs in this land. So that's one of the more interesting things. Again, my student of history, a part of it here. And our just saying interpretation is good food down there. Yeah. Let's squeeze in at least one more call before we hit that next brick here. We do have Jerry on the west side here with us right now. Jerry, thanks for joining us.
How you doing tonight?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm great. I just wanted to point out a couple things. I really love your show, and I'm not even going to comment on our fine friend from the Northeast, but if he's a money manager, I bet he's one broke individual. I like spending $50 more for a tank full of gas. Inflation super high, paychecks super short, and that guy there just nonstop. I would just like to say, with all the folks coming in on the southern border, 200,000 of them, invite them over. Invite them for dinner. Quit smuggling them. People are dying, and there was a way to stop it. So I would encourage him to invite people over, and I would encourage him, if he's super rich because he knows finances, share it with somebody else. Because no. And as far as our current administration, yeah, I was active duty under Obama, and we had DNC. It wasn't commander in chief; it was chicken in chief. And now we have another one. He's doing such a fantastic job. I hope in November, by January, we can send him home so by 9 o'clock at night, he can have a warm glass of milk and his TV set. Because that's about all I think he's good for. So that was just my point. The other fine fellas that you get on here, maybe they should try Comedy Central, because they're about the biggest jokes you got on the show. Thank you, and enjoy your holiday weekend. Holiday weekend. Thank you.
Absolutely. You there as well. Appreciate the point in the call. Hope you have a happy 4th as well. All right, bye-bye. That'll take us through that next break right now. Coming out of the break, we got more calls on the line and a lot more that we'll be getting to here. And comments are abounding as well. Again, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch are the places that you can leave those. But again, if you're wanting to get on the line, call in that way. That number to do so, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
On your El Paso freeways, watch for a crash with injuries. I-10 eastbound at Reynolds, it's blocking the right lane. Police and medical on the scene, causing a bit of a backup. Border Highway, eastbound at Fort Padres, an accident's blocking the right shoulder there. I-10 westbound at Airway, a stalled vehicle's blocking the left shoulder. And South Desert Boulevard, southbound after Red, an injury accident. You could take Red to Donovan Drive as an alternate. Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GOLD for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's promo code GOLD. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GOLD for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code GOLD for a $5 bonus.
New on Curiosity Stream. With my infrared drone, I can see what others can't. Drone pilot Doug Thron uses his bird's eye view for the ultimate good, saving animals from desperate situations around the globe. Join the rescue effort on a new season of Doug to the Rescue. And
we captured a Confederate steamboat. We're taking the ship to freedom.
An enslaved crew, a stolen vessel, and a Civil War dash to salvation on impossible escapes. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
If you're 45 or older, this message could save your life. Health experts now recommend starting regular colorectal cancer screening at age 45. Colorectal cancer is a leading cause of cancer death, but it's preventable through regular screening. There are more screening options than ever before, including at-home tests. You've got the guts to prevent colorectal cancer. Talk to your doctor about your options and visit cdc.gov/screen4life for more information.
If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
M1EP.com. Superior multifamily property management services citywide.
News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thanks for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media outlets we're up on these days. Facebook.com/Talk El Paso is more or less the main one, but also find us over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.tv. At least one point I want to get to here from the comments before we hit that next call. We do have Eric Von Holstein-Rathlow saying, if our schools were teaching true American history, our kids would be wearing T-shirts with pictures of Thomas Paine, Charles Montesquieu, Thomas Hobbes, and a few founding fathers instead of T-shirts with pics of Che Guevara. I mean, technically the Che Guevara T-shirt is almost a meme on its own right these days. I mean, there was one great skit. I want to say it was actually a Comedy Central skit where it was Che Guevara reincarnated and dropped into the middle of essentially New York City and seeing a bunch of the t-shirts saying, oh, well, you support us. Wait, you bought those from a capitalist system? Like, that would be one of his mild nightmares. And also, the history of that individual is a little bit fraught as well. I think some of them wearing it outside of a symbol of rebellion, I'd be very surprised about the actual supported positions, but that's why I don't wear a lot of graphic tees besides like the bands I listen to. It's also a good reason to know what you're talking about. So let's go back to those phone calls right now. Again, the number to call there, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. We do have James on the northeast side of town here with us right now. James, thanks for joining us.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Doing all right there. What's on your mind?
Okay, well, what's on my mind is called wasteful spending by the TxDOT.
Mm-hmm.
They built that bridge right there in the Spaghetti Bowl. It's the ramp F, as in failure, because it's supposed to connect to the Loop 375.
Mm-hmm.
But what they didn't think about is all that traffic that's going to Juarez.
Mm-hmm.
They literally block you just to even go into that ramp F. So you can't even go to that Loop 375 around, I would say like around right now, like 5 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock. So there's no way that truckers could connect to that Loop 375. And that's like, that's total wasteful spending. And that's like millions of dollars.
Yeah, and I guess another reason to be concerned about it, I just have more or less instinctually avoided that area around this time of day for a while now. But also, you got to keep in mind, we've talked about road projects a little bit on this program, not terrifically recently, so a good reminder would be good that all of the construction, basically, and I do almost mean literally all of it, that has been going on with all these other routes, Loop 375, the border highway, and even to an extent, the part that they're dealing with on I-10 right now, all of that is gearing up for the eventual having to shut down of major portions of I-10 to do basic roadbed maintenance. We've had some of that idea of the downtown expansion coming in. That's almost about half because that's going to be a huge thing, however you slice it. But literally, that might have to be a relief route at some point where you're getting, the other side of I-10 is shut down, have to get shunted up 54 to then go around that way to be able to stay on essentially a highway. So, yeah, I've had similar concerns. I've been, I guess, mildly hopeful that there is a plan, but I really know what happens when we just hope and wish instead of actually knowing.
Exactly. So, and you're totally right. Especially, you know how you're saying that they're going to work on the I-10, but also I don't know whatever happened to that plan that they're going to put a park over in downtown area, like over the I-10.
Right.
So, I mean, imagine trying to use that toll, the Loop 375 Connect. I think they call it the I-Connect. I'm not sure, but
right, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
How are you gonna be able to use it when you have people from Juarez blocking all that bridge because it's like a Y on the very top of that bridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I mean, either TxDOT is gonna have to go back again and connect another bridge next to it to widen that bridge, or I have no idea. But anyways, that was on my mind, and I tuned into the AM radio and I heard you guys talking, and I know on Fridays, you take any kind of topic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been one of my pet peeves, that TxDOT really fouled up on that one.
Again, maybe this is my undue optimism showing up. I think that there is a plan, but I'm, usually not going to hold my breath and seeing it, having dealt with too many road projects. So you're absolutely right. That's what we do on Fridays. So thank you very much for the point in the call and for expressing your opinion on it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. You have a great one there and a great holiday weekend here. Tell you what, we're going to talk more about that coming out of this break, but we got to hit that top of the hour right now. So if you're wanting to get on the line, add your 2 cents, you can certainly do so over on the social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, or on the phone line here. Squeeze in if you can, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. We'll be back after this break and the top of the hour news with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Don't go anywhere.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
On your El Paso freeways, watch for a crash with injuries. I-10 eastbound at Reynolds, it's blocking the right lane. Police and medical on the scene, causing a bit of a backup. Border Highway eastbound before Padres, an accident's blocking the right shoulder there. I-10 westbound at Airway, a stalled vehicle's blocking the left shoulder. And South Desert Boulevard, southbound after Red, an injury accident. You could take Red to Donovan Drive as an alternate. Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
I'm Roger Waters, and this is not a drill.
This is the real deal. Pink Floyd's Roger Waters' This Is Not a Drill North American Tour rolls across the U.S.
How would you like to join me on tour?
Here's your chance to win a VIP trip for two to Las Vegas to see Roger Waters live in concert, first class airfare, front row tickets, and more from AEG.
Wow.
Text the nationwide keyword Roger to 200-200. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's Roger to 200-200.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Do flowers have best friends?
I don't know.
Hey, look. Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the
News
United
on
States
the
Forest
hour
Service
and
and
the
the Ad.
half. Traffic and weather all day. News Radio 690 is KTSM AM El Paso, an iHeart radio station.
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. The U.S. is sending more aid to Ukraine. The Pentagon announced a new $820 million aid package. It includes up to 150,000 rounds of 155 millimeter artillery ammo. New York is working to codify the right to abortions in the state after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Governor Kathy Hochul says this would protect reproductive health for future generations. The WHO says urgent action is needed after monkeypox cases tripled in 2 weeks in Europe. Lisa Taylor has more.
Over 90% of the cases confirmed of the virus have been found in Europe, as they've been reported in 31 European countries. Monkeypox is a viral disease that occurs mostly in Central and Western Africa. It has its name because it was first identified in laboratory monkeys. WHO officials called on governments to speed up efforts to prevent monkeypox from spreading further and said time is of the essence.
Unvaccinated Army National Guard and Reserve members can't participate in drills. That's according to an announcement by the Army. They must have an approved or pending exemption in order to take part in training that's federally funded. Thursday was the deadline for Army service members to be vaccinated. A Texas family has been convicted for running a human trafficking ring that the feds say involved hundreds of illegal immigrants, some of whom were sexually assaulted. It stretched from the border town of Eagle Pass to a stash house in San Antonio that was across the street from an elementary school. Buying all the foods for that 4th of July cookout will cost about 17% more this year. That's according to the annual survey done by the Farm Bureau. Gary Joyner is with the Texas Farm Bureau.
You point to the beef that you're going to be buying, perhaps for the hamburgers. You're also looking at things like eggs are really up compared to a year ago.
You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio. New York City is pausing COVID-19 alert updates as health officials review the system.
The health department is analyzing how it uses current critical indicators like new cases and hospital admission rates to inform where its COVID level stands. The potential change comes after the latest wave, with Health Commissioner Dr. Ashwin Vasan explaining the city's positivity rates did not lead to a surge in hospitalizations. New York City downgraded its COVID alert level to medium on June 21st, but the case count has already started creeping up. I'm Natalie Migliori.
A former governor of South Carolina is leaving the door open to a run for president. Republican Nikki Haley visited Northwest Iowa on Thursday and said she'll run if it looks like there's a place for her. She noted she'll put all of her effort into a potential bid. After serving as governor, Haley joined the Trump administration. Visitors and residents alike will be happy to hear that Georgia will be providing a longer break from the state portion of the gasoline tax. Scott Kimbler reports.
Governor Brian Kemp has signed an executive order once again suspending the state gas tax. The governor first worked with the legislature in March to suspend the gas tax against a backdrop of roaringly high gasoline prices at the pump. The suspension saves you 30 cents at the pump per gallon of gasoline and 33 cents per gallon of diesel. This suspension runs through mid-August. The previous extension was set to expire in mid-July. Because of the gasoline tax suspensions, you're enjoying some of the lowest prices in the country when it comes to filling up.
A Florida man is being accused of trying to steal a Star Wars R2-D2 statue from Disney World. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says David Proudfoot was arrested this week for allegedly impersonating a Disney World employee so he could steal things from the property, including an R2-D2 statue worth up to $10,000. Brian Shook, NBC News Radio.
Now your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now.
Make this the year you go to our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
iHeartRadio, let's go! A weekend full of superstar performances, never seen before collaboration, and once-in-a-lifetime moments you'll have to see to believe.
Friday, September 23rd and Saturday the 24th at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
Our 2022 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Buy your tickets now at AXS.com.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Bloomberg Crypto is the new daily podcast from Bloomberg and iHeartRadio that tackles everything from Bitcoin to Bored Apes. Each weekday, Bloomberg reporters and experts from every corner of the industry discuss the latest in cryptocurrencies and explore how it impacts our lives, our politics, and our culture.
How many machines would I need to buy, not that I will, to kind of mine Bitcoin effectively?
Like tens of thousands of
machines. Tens of thousands. That's way more than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Listen to Bloomberg Crypto on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You've heard the big news. Greta is back, and she's on Newsmax. Now, Greta is taking on Big Washington and Big Media at 6 p.m. Eastern every weeknight with her new show, The Record with Greta Van Susteren. Greta always gives you the real news. And she leads a big night on Newsmax with Rob Schmidt talking about Biden's economic train wreck. And then there's Eric Bolling exposing the woke agenda. More than 20 million Americans watch Newsmax. Millions are making the switch to Newsmax. It's on all major cable and streaming platforms. If your cable system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them. If they won't carry it, switch to a system that does. And download the free Newsmax app on your smartphone. Watch it anytime. Tune into Newsmax tonight for Greta Van Susteren, Rob Schmidt, Eric Bolling, and a lot more. Make the switch to Newsmax today.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days, facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel over on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or twitch.tv, Andrew J. Polk. Friday is here, and that means for the first time this month, it's the first day of the month, so I know, big whoop. Anyway, we're taking on all those comments, calls, everything we can cram into. Even as we're getting into the second hour of the program here, we're keeping it going strong. Calls on the line if you want to squeeze in that way. 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Not that it wasn't obvious anyway, but particularly after we have a caller end their call, it's a good time to try it out there. But also a lot of comments going on online. Kathy Codry, RJ, Bro, Francisco Amaya, Fred Marquez, Eric Von Holstein-Rathlow, James Radcliffe, and more. And yeah, just a lot going on there. But also, if you want to, if you get those likes and reacts, we do appreciate them. Calvin Williams, Robbie Flores, Monica Cervantes, Robert Haynes, Michael Robert Tipton, and Flaco Jimenez. Just helps with those algorithmic things. And whether or not it's you like the topic we're talking about, if you appreciate the live local discussion of them, go ahead and drop it over there, and we will keep doing as we do every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. So in now this second hour of the program, let's get back to those calls on the line here. Right now, we do have Al in the Northeast with us on the line. Al, thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks once again, Andrew, for taking my call. I have a couple of kudos to send out, and I'll try to be succinct.
Okay.
The first is to all of the veterans and all of the active duty people who are, on the occasion of this 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's not Veterans Day, but I want to send thanks to all my fellow veterans and to all those people who are defending this country for the rest of the slackers.
Fair enough.
It's obvious that Americans are starting to change their point of view, and I hope enough of them can stop the destruction that the Biden administration and all of the domestic communists have been doing, although they still have 2.5 years to do an extensive amount of damage. My other comment goes to the Screamer and some of the other comrades like Comrade Raul and Comrade Tony, who apparently have been drinking too much of the liberal Kool-Aid and are washing down the propaganda with that, because they need to work on their listening skills. I hope enough Americans are, like I say, I'm repeating myself, but I hope enough of them are waking up to the fact that we have a political class in this country that is destroying it. If this is such a bad nation, why do they want control of it? And number two, why do we have caravans of people begging to get into this country if America is such a bad place?
I mean, I'll never say that it is perfect, because we'll never reach perfection in this plane of existence, but better than a lot of places and always striving towards improving is, well, more than enough for me. But I mean, I'm never going to say that people can't decide and want to improve a place that they are. I don't quite subscribe to the love it or leave it kind of analogy, because sure, you can always want to do more to, again, achieve that more perfect union status. But to the larger point, I think what you're talking about with people maybe waking up, unfortunately, I mean, I've been screaming about this in my own right for years, sometimes into the void, it feels like. But really what I think, if we're going to see increases in voter turnouts, increases in people doing it, it's going to be driven by primarily what personal pain they have endured because of this. That's why often, the phrase, it's the economy, stupid, is more than a little bit persuasive, because once it starts hitting people at home, wait, I can't do the things I was doing before. I mean, it may be a position of incredible privilege, but to not even worry about being affected by the politics and what comes out of it, I cannot fathom that myself. But I'm also weird that way. But once people start, whether they were involved in it or not, having it start show up in, their dining room, their gas tank, out and about, that's unfortunately just the modern world when people do start paying attention.
Well, it's the policies of Biden and his administration. I don't want to say it's Biden, because the guy can't find his own pajamas. He's not even a good puppet. Even many Democrats have stated that. He's not even a good Manchurian candidate, for those of you that understand what I'm saying. He's just sitting there for the people that are pulling the strings. But there was one there was one written statement by this new Supreme Court justice, this lady that got in there, and she doesn't even support things like the Declaration of Independence and so forth and so forth. They slammed her in there. And unfortunately, these people have been doing such for the last 40 years. They've got control of most of our institutions. But hopefully some of the decisions that were recently made by the Supreme Court illustrate that we still have patriots in this country.
I think it'll definitely go down as one of the more consequential sessions that's come up. Probably something we're going to focus a little bit more on next week, is not necessarily any individual decision, but the sum total. What does it show? What does it mean? And what is it going to mean going forward?
Well, I think people need to realize, and I omitted one group of people when I shouted out thanks to all the veterans, and that is the people who are still here from the greatest generation, who saved us from fascism and communism and everything else. I want to say thank you personally.
No, absolutely, fully agree with you there. Again, not Veterans Day, but as good a time as any as I can imagine to express such a sentiment.
All right, stay safe.
I appreciate it. You have a great 4th of July yourself.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. I think we got time to get some more calls in the line here. Again, if you're wanting to squeeze on, that number to do so is 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. We have Barbara on the west side here with us right now. Barbara, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in response to Raul again in this insurrection, I would remind him again that at the end of President Biden's comments, he said, many of you will peacefully and patriotically walk to the Capitol to make your voices be heard. So that's for one. And then there's Epoch has a segment with Cash Patel, and it's June the 11th of 22, if anybody wants to go in and see it, June 11th, 22, where he discusses what happened 3 or 4 days prior to the rallies. Number one, the president offered 20,000 National Guard troops, which Nancy and Schumer said no. And then he makes a joke. He said, it makes one wonder, why is it that Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts knew to board their storefronts? Did they have more information than the FBI and the Capitol Police? Because something happened there at the Capitol. Mm-hmm. And then he said, and I wrote this down because I was shocked. And he testified in front of the committee, the January 6th committee, gave his testimony. And he said that Pelosi, they refused any protection. Then on the day of the riot, they called and wanted him to send in, and this is Pelosi's request, and it's on his tape. She wanted armored plate carriers. She wanted belt-fed machine guns along with tanks. That's what she requested. She did not want the fence. And Cash Patel, as we all know, was the chief of staff at the DOD. And he asked her, well, what is it exactly that you want us to do with this equipment that you're asking for? But he said what was most important to her is wanting to know when the cafeteria was going to open. So these are things that he was there, he was present, he testified, and he's been asking the January 6th committee to release his testimony, which they won't. And now they're doing it piecemeal prior to the televised, staged January 6th committee meetings on TV. So there's another side to this riots, rallies, whatever you want to call them, that the committee is refusing to release to the American people. So, and then he said the only things that they were interested when they were asking him questions, they didn't want to know about the timeline prior to the riots and the rallies. They wanted to know about Afghanistan and Ukraine, totally unrelated to the rally on January the 6th. I mean, on January, was it 6th? Yes, January 6th. Mm-hmm. So this is so biased. I don't know how anybody's going to believe anything they say. But changing the subject here, I called in earlier in the week and I discussed how the Biden administration how the city and the county wanted to enter into agreements for housing for illegal immigrants. Well, on May the 12th, before a House hearing, Becerra lied to Representative Hudson from North Carolina. Hudson asked him if they had any intentions of housing illegal unaccompanied minor children in North Carolina. And Becerra said, no, they had no intentions of doing it. 9 days later, in Greensboro, the federal government signed a 5-year agreement with the Greensboro city to house up to 800 illegal immigrants. The facility, like I said, has 16, it's 100 acres, has 16 dormitories, an $18 million athletic center. And in there, what Becerra said is they are wanting to, the Biden, and I'm going to quote, the Biden administration wants to detain immigrant children away from the border. So my question to our city and our county, why are they looking for housing for these unaccompanied minor children in our area when they are specifically stating they want to house them away from the border? That's a big question we need to ask, because we're talking millions of dollars of our tax dollars being used for this. And when they're describing what type of skills they want at the facility, they're talking technology, they're talking teachers, assistant teachers, staff, support, and administrative staff. One of the things that they indicated in the curriculum that they're going to do is that, and I'm quoting again, we will ultimately raise the learner's understanding of humanity. That's a flag in itself. Understanding of humanity, that to me, that is subjective. To me, that's brainwashing them. I don't think that there's going to be anything honest coming out of it, the way this is all done, because I remember Judge Judy, when I see these things, every time their lips are moving, they're lying. And I mean, Becerra says, no, we're not looking. And 5-6 days later, they enter into an agreement through, 2027 on a facility for these kids. I mean, El Paso has to wake up. We cannot allow the city, the county, and our representative, Escobar, because she's part of the administration, to allow this and to spend our tax dollars. They're not even spending them. They're wasting them. They're standing at the city block with a bonfire of our tax dollars. That's how I see it. It's a waste of money, and we go to work every day, earn our wages, pay our taxes, and this is what the Biden administration is proposing that we accept. It's not acceptable, in my view. I hope El Paso opens their eyes and we go out full force in November and send a strong message that this is not America. This is our America. It's not 157 countries' America. We were born here. Our parents were in World War II. We have veterans here that are still living at, I don't know, I guess, or World War II. My dad was in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Getting off the subject here, I didn't know much about my dad in World War II. He never spoke about it. I'm going to get personal here. But when I ran for office, I learned more about veterans and I learned more about my dad than I ever knew. And to our veteran community, God bless their souls. I mean,
Absolutely.
They are the best. And I just support our veteran community. And I know everybody else does, and the gentleman before me mentioned it. But we need to support our community. We need to put people in office who love our country, who support our sovereignty, and who support what our veterans did and are still doing for us. Remember that. Go out and vote. Take your friend. Take 10.
Absolutely. You're not going to find any disagree with me on that point here, as is well known, because you know what? I'll take anyone's entry into this, punching their ticket into public life, even if they've been out of it forever. If they're saying, wait, what? There's stuff that needs to be done here. You know what? Welcome to the show. Let's get you in there and get you seated and get you aware of what's going on. So, if this is what it takes, that is not great, but better late than never, I kind of suppose. But yeah, absolutely a lot of credit to our veterans, providing the freedom that we continue to enjoy as we have this upcoming holiday weekend. So thank you very much for the point in the call. Do appreciate it.
Thank you, Andrew. Have a great weekend.
You as well there. That's going to take us through our next break right now. So coming out of this break, we will get to more calls, more comments, more of everything we do on the line. So if you want to squeeze in on the line there, that number to do so, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned. You want to make sure that you're, looking good for the holiday here or any time of the year. Shortcuts might be a little bit more apropos for summer, but in any case, whatever your situation is, you want to be looking good, you want to be feeling good, and you want to be well taken care of. And you can get all of that done with the official hair and beard sponsor of the show, a Gentleman's Republic Barber Salon and Men's Spa, because they've got the services here, including some of our friends here on sister stations going to be going out and trying their, pedicure services, something that I could probably use but never actually tried. Maybe I'll have to take them up on that next time I go over there, because they combine all of the great services that you may not expect from the traditional experience, but they've got the traditional skills of hair and beard styling plus a whole lot more. So find them online at gentsrepublic.com. That's GENTS Republic.com, or give them a call and schedule your next appointment for whatever service you need. 915-532-3000. That's 915-532-3000. Or again, find them online at gentsrepublic.com. That's GENTS Republic.com.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Gateway Boulevard westbound at Viscount, an accident is blocking two right lanes and causing a backup. Expect delays. I-10 eastbound at Hawkins, another crash on the left shoulder. On the 110 southbound at East Paisano, an injury accident. I-10 eastbound at Reynolds, that earlier crash is cleared up. And South Desert Boulevard southbound after Red, an injury accident there. Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
While the world bickers over why prices are so high, you drift on over to your happy place. We've got your shot at $1,000 with Inflation Vacation. Listen every hour from 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. weekdays for your chance to win $1,000.
Bank for Your Tank is brought to you by the El Paso Zoo Society. Take a rock on the wild side. Rock and Roar Music Festival, July 2nd at the El Paso Zoo. 2 music stages, a silent disco, arcade games, and so much more. Get tickets at elpasozooSociety.org.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Hey El Paso, Ivan Ochoa, General Manager of Sunland Park Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat. We make car buying fast, fun, and easy. And due to high demand, we need trades. So we'll do whatever it takes to get you out of your old vehicle into a new car, truck, or SUV today.
Even if you owe thousands more than your trade is worth, we want it, so you can get huge savings on every new and certified pre-owned vehicle in our huge inventory. For a limited time, get $4,000 off MSRP on the all-new 2022 full-size Wagoneer SUV with third-row seating and up to $7,000 off select new Ram trucks. Super low 2.9% APR for 72 months on the all-new 2022 Dodge Charger. All military personnel and all first responders receive an additional discount. Thank you for your service. Trade and upgrade for less during the Make the Switch event at Sunland Park Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Where buying a car is fun. At I-10 at Sunland Park Drive or online at sunlandparkdodge.com. Estamos en tu esquina El Paso Strong. Includes factory rebate and dealer discount plus TTNL. 2.9% APR is $15.15 per thousand finance on select vehicles. 0 down with approved credit. Offers not combined.
If you work remote, Staples has you covered.
A mid-mod desk chair to rejuvenate my ho-hum workspace.
Staples has you covered. A place to put my papers so I can be more productive.
A storage cabinet that I can roll out of the way on weekends.
Staples has you covered with remote workspace solutions. And now get 25% off storage and filing products, chair mats, decor, and lighting with the purchase of an office chair or desk. Explore solutions for your remote workspace at Staples, the working and learning store. N72, in-store only.
For nearly 100 years, folks have trusted Blue Star medicated ointment to relieve the pain and itching of almost any skin irritation.
It works on my son's dry, itching feet and their jock itch.
I had this rash on my neck. Nothing worked until Blue Star.
Blue Star worked great on my ringworm without steroids.
My wife and I have been using Blue Star for years. It's never let us down.
Look for the white box with the Blue Star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast or your money back.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live, streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages. A lot of people chiming in there. Get to some of those comments here in just a second. But also, if you want to call in, a little space on the line here right now if you want to squeeze in there or any other point later in the show. 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. And yeah, just so many comments coming in. Robert Carrasco, Raul Francisco Amaya, James Radcliffe, Eric von Holstein-Rathlow, Ion Grimm, Fred Marquez, Kathy Codry, RJ over on the YouTube, and a whole lot more. And of course, dropping those likes and reacts, we do appreciate. Ion Grimm, Calvin Williams, Robbie Flores, Monica Cervantes, Robert Haynes, Robert Michael Tipton, and Flaco Jimenez. All appreciated in our mission to have more than, or at least keep what we got anyway with live local talk radio here in the borderland. Let's go back to those phone lines now. Again, that number to call, 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. We do have Tony on the west side here with us right now. Tony, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. As a master philosopher, I have a different perspective, or a more wider spectrum of perspectives than most callers, and I'd like to share with the audience. You have to understand something. Whenever a country, a person, a community rejects Christ, the default religion is government. Okay, humanism, 1961, Torcaso versus Watkins declared humanism to be an official religion, and that's what happens when we kick God out of our schools and out of our lives. Now, that being said, the reason we're not winning, by that I mean those of us who try to be godly and family-oriented and constitutional founded and so forth, is because we don't understand our enemy. Most people don't understand. This is the trinity of the enemy. Number one, government. Number two, save the earth, which will include worshiping of the earth at the expense of individuals, by the way. And number three, to use the government to implement what they call social justice or economic justice. That's the trinity of our enemy. And if you people listening don't understand that, you'll never beat your enemy. You'll never address him. You never know what he's up to. That's why $8 a gallon for diesel coming up won't mean anything. As one Frenchman once put it, we are consuming and wasteful pigs. The Democrat leadership looks at us as consuming and wasteful pigs. They don't want us in cars. They want us on bikes. You have to understand that. So they don't care about gasoline being high. You got to stop talking about that. That's not going to do it. They don't care about that. They want us on bikes because they want to save the earth. They want our carbon footprint to be smaller. Number two, they want to use government to equalize everyone. Now, on the other side of that, those of us who are trying to obey God, it's God, family, and country. God, his commandments, learn about him, read his Bible, read his commandments, understand his word, obey his commandments as best we can. Number two, family, the way God defined it, not the way sociologists are defining it today, not the way the Democrats are defining it today. You have to understand that. So with us, it's God, family, and country only in as much as Jesus gave them authority, which was give to Caesar what is Caesar. In other words, what is Caesar's? In other words, economically funded to do the things that an individual cannot do. So that's the distinction that I want all of you please to understand. For us, it's God, family, and country. For them, it's government, save the earth, and the instrument of the government. Eventually, it's a one world government, by the way. And if you would listen to your church, listen to your preachers, and read the Bible instead of just doing you would understand that the final enemy of God will be a one world government. That's why those of us who refuse to follow the government on certain edicts, like a vaccine that only has a difference of 0.03 in death rate to the regular flu, that's why we refuse the vaccine, because it's just a trial run to see how many of us will obey the government blindly. And there's already 666, which is the number of the beast. 2/3 of you have obeyed the government blindly. So again, just to wrap up, you need to know who your enemy is. The trinity of the enemy is government, save the earth, and of course the instrument of the government to do equal justice for all in their eyes, economic and social. And again, I'll leave you with this. Our trinity is God, family, and country. Family, God has his edicts. I'm almost done. And then family, the way God defined it. And of course, country, and only in as much as Jesus gives it authority. What were you going to say, Andrew? I'm sorry.
No, I was an agreement noise there. If that sounded like I was interrupting you.
Yeah, so it's because I hear a lot of people complain about the Democrats and what they don't care. You think they care about gas being high? They want gas to be high. Why can't you guys get it through your head? That's not their priority. They see us as consuming pigs. They want us to stop consuming. They want us on bicycles. They want us to be a member of the world neighborhood. They do not want us to be a strong country. And that's why I stopped calling for so long, and it makes my blood boil that the Republicans are too stupid to know who their enemies are. They don't understand their enemy. Because I'll leave you with this. If this is what God says to you all, to all of us. If my people who are called by my name would seek my face and repent, I would heal their land. But until those of us who call ourselves Christians and Catholics and so forth, until we get serious and stop playing games with God and calling him the Word of God on Sunday and doing the opposite Monday through Saturday, it's never going to get better. It's never going to get better until we do that. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you for the point in the call. I do appreciate it. I know I sometimes get called out for, why are you allowing religious justification for things? Like, I'm never going to fault anyone for any reason, motivation they find for themselves entering into public life, and at the very least going out and voting. It's one that starts being, and therefore you're going to live by my principles, that I start having issues. But let me just put it this way. Out of all the principles you mentioned, I don't have any particular problem with them, I guess government more than anything, because I still find myself very much motivated by the concept of the government that governs best, governs least. But even on the idea, equal justice for all, the concept of justice, I find myself very much in favor of. But once you start getting into some skewed implications of it there, that being not even equal access, equal opportunity, but equal outcomes. That's when the concept of justice starts falling off, even if there are some that might have. You can argue just about anything these days, but reality is a hell of a motivator. And so then on the idea of, again, conservation, essentially, preserving the planet here, again, it has its very firm points. I would like to be able to go outside and breathe easily, freely, and not worry about whatever is being pumped into the air. But again, it has its limits there. And even when it comes to the idea of, again, God, family, country, all of these things are very important concepts, and ones that should probably have equal measure considered when it comes to how our government is implemented, particularly when it comes to God and religion as a whole, hands off of it. Essentially, when it comes down to me, family, you should be able to choose for you and your family as you see fit. And country, yeah, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's is a, again, persuasive phrase on its own, but also that there should be people involved in country, I guess, is where I kind of come down more than anything with it there. So again, you're entitled to your opinions on it, and thinking that people need to be more involved. I know that, I guess, one of the biggest issues I see, particularly when people talk about the breakdown of religion or a lack of it, is not even necessarily that there's any one interpretation, because I know with some of the Supreme Court decisions that have come out recently, there's been some celebration on the part of some saying that, well, now we'll be allowed back in there. At least in my upbringing, was fully able to do those exercises and practices even on school grounds, but also more specifically, the idea of there hasn't been anything replacing it. That's, well, religious life was often a social center for many of the earlier parts of our country, and with it going by in some people's lives and minds the wayside, that there hasn't necessarily been a replacement for it, even in just the social aspect of it. The moral is an entire another thing, but also important, don't get me wrong. But there not being anyone else, other gathering points, other ways for people to know to get each other, know though they're essentially a shorthand for their morals and their beliefs, that I don't think has necessarily served us that well. I mean, that's part of the reason we've seen the rise of some other kind of things about, like, essentially the entire social services aspect of things wasn't really it's a modern concept, because it wasn't really needed before the modern times, because people would tend to take care of their communities and will often find themselves gathering in a church. So that may be getting a little bit more sociological and sociology based here than you were intending for me to get into, but I think it is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. The answers on that, I think, are best left up to the individual, but the idea of it being considered is, I think, more important than not. Eric von Holstein Rathwell commenting, I think it's God, country, then family. If need a country that fosters strong families, way he's putting it there here. And James Flatcliffe saying, I think, in talking about some of the other things, that Congress shall make no law respecting or prohibiting religion. Yeah, that is pretty important, I do think, because any way you start getting into it, whether it's promotion of one and therefore the denying or another, or saying that, no, you're not allowed to do such things that way, it's fraught. That's why I think the First Amendment is first for a reason in a whole lot of ways. It's the hanger that we hang our hat on here, and the ability to do this work and what we're talking about and have the conversations that we do, but it also just all the other aspects, very important there. Tell you what, we got to take that next break right now. Coming out of this break, we will get to more calls on the line here. So if you're on the line, stay there. If you want to call in, that number to do so is 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM. Back after this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Hello, everyone. This is Robert Olguin with your KFOX 14 News Update. Some strong words today in an El Paso courtroom. The judge in charge of the Walmart shooting murder case blasted the El Paso district attorney, accusing her of being unprepared and saying too much. A few days ago, El Paso DA Yvonne Rosales issued a statement saying that she hoped the state trial against the accused gunman could start next year and that she would seek the death penalty. Judge Medrano asked Rosales why she would say such a thing when her office has yet to file a single court filing regarding the case. Judge Sam Medrano went on to issue a gag order restricting prosecutors and defense attorneys from speaking about the case. This has been your KFOX 14 News Update. I'm Robert Olguin.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
Gateway Boulevard westbound at Viscount, an accident is blocking two right lanes and causing a backup. Expect delays. I-10 eastbound at Hawkins, another crash on the left shoulder. On the 110 southbound at East Paisano, an injury accident. I-10 eastbound at Reynolds, that earlier crash is cleared up. And South Desert Boulevard southbound after Red, an injury accident there. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
Monsoon season continues with showers and storms in the forecast each and every afternoon. Expect a mostly cloudy sky tonight with a 20% chance for a few isolated showers and storms, and overnight lows will settle into the lower to middle 70s. Coming up tonight, we'll talk about below average temperatures for the upcoming weekend, followed by an uptick in showers and storms for the 4th. From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kira Miner.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
Are you getting letters from the IRS? Did you know that the IRS can take your house and empty your bank accounts without even notifying you? VersiTax can protect you from all of this. VersiTax client Catherine Valdez.
Using VersiTax, I saved over $33,000.
Call VersiTax and discover all the latest relief programs you qualify for in the first free call.
IRS, getting it off my back was definitely a stress relief. I could sleep good at night, no more IRS letters, clean slate. I'm actually getting refunds back. It's amazing.
Call VersiTax for free tax relief information. The call is free. The information is free.
Customer service was amazing, and I would definitely advise anyone to go with VersiTax.
Call 800-202-7709. That's 800-202-7709 for your free tax relief information call. 800-202-7709. 800-202-7709.
If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply. This report is sponsored by Discover.
Sweetie, want some fruit? You have to use the right tool for the job. A power drill is the wrong tool to slice fruit. Just like an antibiotic is the wrong tool to treat viruses, including colds and flu. Antibiotics are only needed for certain bacterial infections. When they aren't needed, antibiotics won't help you, and the side effects could still hurt you. Ask your healthcare professional when an antibiotic is the right tool and when it's not. Visit cdc.gov/antibiotic-use.
Freedom of speech lives here.
To me, freedom of speech is being able to say anything you want.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM. News Radio 690 KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social media pages we're up on these days: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch.tv. You don't have to remember these unless you're already on them, in which case, make sure to look for us. Otherwise, the entire point is just to make it clear that we're out there a whole lot of ways. If you're just listening to us, I know we don't talk about that aspect that much because, well, if you're already listening to us, you're in the right place, but we appreciate it in its own way, because even just taking the time, make sure you're informed or paying attention to what the discussions are going on and the things affecting our region, you're way ahead of the curve. Let's put it that way. But I think a lot of people are going to have to catch up with that curve before too long. So if you do want to call in, add your 2 cents. That number to do so, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Oh, it's been a hell of a week here, and we'll keep it going here. So let's go back to the phone lines right now. We do have Frankie and Messia on the line here with us right now. Frankie, thanks for joining us.
Good grief. I don't even know where to begin. First, I want to make a comment about Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
But then I heard Terrible Tony going on about the flying spaghetti monster in the sky who's going to save everybody. Tony, give it up. There's no God, no Jesus, no Holy Ghost, and no devil. just a bunch of stupid humans that believe because they're too scared of things that go bump in the night. Now, let me get back to the point about what Barbara said.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't believe she said that. But she said, we need to get people, if hopefully I'm correcting when she's saying what she said, that we need to get people that are concerned, care about the United States of America, and do the right thing. Well, Barbara, I agree with you. And if you vote, and I'm not saying you, Barbara, but if you vote for people like the Donnie Dotard and the other nut job, quick conservative nut jobs, you're not going to get what you want. So that's my point.
Yeah, what you're saying there, and I don't think Tony was totally taking it as a just, I guess, devil's advocate here, as a we just need to believe and do nothing, because another phrase that I think about a decent amount is God helps those who help themselves. Because if you're just going to say sit back and just well, the literal interpretations of Jesus take the wheel, shall we say, doesn't work out that well. And sure, you can put your faith in ideas, concepts, and again, I don't particularly have any issue with anyone using these as these sources of their motivation to be involved and doing things. If anything, I'll take that over someone who isn't doing anything. But to say that they're just, well, expecting it to all be fixed by someone, Deus Ex Machina, to put it into theatrical terms, don't think that was quite my interpretation of it, but you're, of course, entitled to yours. And yeah, I live for the otherwise moments of agreement that, yeah, we need more people involved. And I think there's some finer points of debate that, of course, could be made on the political positions that people will or won't have. Really, I often find people who are most willing to even discuss them. This is one of the reasons why I know that political debates, are often seen as sideshows, but really, people who are not willing to even discuss it or be able to defend the positions that they are putting forth vociferously, or at least with any semblance of confidence in them, it's a decent litmus test, even in this day and age, and even for I mean, I just look at the issues myself, but I still think it's an important way to do it, because if you can't even consider it or put forth why someone else should consider it, you're often, well, yeah, you've lost before you started.
Well, I appreciate that, Andrew. But today is my birthday. I am 80 years old, and 80 years old, still on this planet, living, breathing, and doing what I never did do. So consequently, if what I believe in is allowing me to live for 80 years right now, and I'm going to live for another 40 years, by the way, I must be doing something right, and everybody else is doing everything wrong. So what do you think of them apples?
Well, I wish you happy birthday, certainly. And I don't think your success necessarily means that others are failing, but you know, whatever gets you through the day, and it's gotten you through plenty of them so far.
Okay, Andrew, you're a great guy. Have a good weekend.
You too as well. Happy birthday and happy 4th.
Thank you.
All right. That's going to take us to that next break right now. Yeah, quite a lot of comments coming in on things like that. At least some saying their faith has gotten stronger now. Hey, more power to you. And it's important to have things that are important to you, not even necessarily as I'm going to tell you specifically how to live. That's certainly not my place in life. But seriously, having strongly held beliefs, because floating through life, not planting your flag in anything, being a strong believer in anything, is just, it's not a way to go through life there. And also Ion Grimm warn you to be, I'll just read this one. Be careful of what goes. Bump in the night. It could be something with those ice cubes. Happy birthday. Absolutely there. All right, we got to take that last break of the hour here. Now, coming back, telling you a little bit about what we got coming up for you in our programming, as well as some other notes. So stay tuned for more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. It has definitely been a heck of a week, and we'll close it out for you. So stay tuned. More Talk El Paso after this break here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Stay tuned.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Gateway Boulevard westbound at Viscount, an accident is blocking 2 right lanes and causing a backup. Expect delays. I-10 eastbound at Hawkins, another crash on the left shoulder. On the 110 southbound at East Paisano, an injury accident. I-10 eastbound at Reynolds, that earlier crash is cleared up. And South Desert Boulevard southbound after Red, an injury accident there. Kerry Edwards, El Paso traffic.
This report is sponsored by Discover. If you're a valued customer, you deserve a simple gesture of appreciation from your credit card company. And that's why Discover matches all of the cash back cashback you've earned at the end of your first year. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
New on Curiosity Street.
This is very different. Dinosaurs living in sub-freezing temperatures.
A groundbreaking expedition reveals Antarctica's vibrant prehistoric past on dinosaurs of the frozen continent. And as Napoleon's enemies surged, one failed negotiation with Austria led to his eventual downfall. Relive the diplomatic showdown that turned the tide on Napoleon, the beginning of the end. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
Maybe you've had to put off a health appointment or two during the COVID-19 pandemic, but if you're 45 or older, there's one test you shouldn't put off any longer. That's your regular screening for colorectal cancer. Colorectal cancer is the leading cancer killer, but can be prevented with regular screenings starting at age 45. There are more screening options than ever before, including at-home tests. It takes guts to put your health first. Ask your doctor about your options today and visit cdc.gov/screen4life for more information.
If you work remote, Staples has you covered.
A mid-mod desk chair to rejuvenate my ho-hum workspace.
Staples has you covered.
A place to put my papers so I can be more productive.
A storage cabinet that I can roll out of the way on weekends.
Staples has you covered with remote workspace solutions. And now get 25% off storage and filing products, chair mats, decor, and lighting with the purchase of an office chair or desk. Explore solutions for your remote workspace at Staples, the working and learning store. N72, in-store only.
For nearly 100 years, folks have trusted Blue Star medicated ointment to relieve the pain and itching of almost any skin irritation.
It works on my son's dry, itching feet and their jock itch.
I had this rash on my neck. Nothing worked until Blue Star.
Blue Star worked great on my ringworm without steroids.
My wife and I have been using Blue Star for years. It's never let us down.
Look for the white box with the blue star in the first aid section. Feel Blue Star work fast or your money back.
My mom and dad are the best. Ever since they called the Early Childhood Program, I'm doing so much better, and mom and dad don't worry or stress as much as they used to. They seem a bazillion times happier, and all services are free.
Parenting isn't easy, so we signed up for the free Early Childhood Program at the El Paso Center for Children. They taught us how to deal with COVID-19 stress and be better parents. Lots of other free services are available. Call 915-500-4105. That's 500-4105.
M1EP.com. Superior multifamily property management services citywide.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for having joined us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I've been your host, Andrew J. Polk. We've been talking about a lot of things here today, and we'll continue, of course, doing so in the new week. Just as a brief reminder, we're taking the 4th off. We'll be enjoying that time, and I hope you can do so as well with your friends, family, loved ones, whoever you decide to do so with. Some replacement programming in we've placed, but we'll, of course, be back live in studio Tuesday next week and working on some things for you next week as well, topics to discuss. We are going to be getting a little bit more into that Supreme Court session because outside of any of the individual decisions, it was quite the consequential session. So we'll be visiting on that and talking about what can be divined from that, what is it going to mean going forward, and what comes next, essentially. So a lot of that coming up there, as well as be sure to tune in. I'm actually very excited about this show. We don't usually talk too much about it on this program, but for the El Paso History Radio Show coming up tomorrow at 10 to noon here on News Radio 690 KTSM, we'll be going into the regional roots of the support of the cause of American independence coming from the Spanish colonial period and how, and we're going to have a couple people calling in from Spain, like they're in Spain at this moment, and will call us from there, about how they celebrate it over there now, including with recognition towards, well, Spanish contributions to American independence. So I'm excited about this show. I think it should be a great one here. And yeah, everyone's saying happy Independence Day. Hope you have a good one there as well. We got one last quick call. We're going to squeeze in on the line here. We do have Ruben on the east side here with us right now. Ruben, thanks for joining us.
Yes, hello, Andrew. How are you doing?
Doing all right there. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to share a few words for Frankie since he doesn't believe in God. Just so he'll know what does God think about him. It says in Psalm 14, verse 1, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. And people need to understand that Christianity, true Christianity, Andrew, It's people that have been come and dwelt by the Holy Spirit. See, the Holy Spirit is like your study guide for the Bible. If not, it's not going to make any sense. It's craziness. In fact, it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 14, but the natural man does not receive the things of the Spirit of God, for they are foolishness to him, nor can he know them because they are spiritually discerned. And hopefully people, you know what, I don't know if you hear talk radio during the day. I've been hearing a lot of radio talk hosts that have been on the radio that love the Lord with all their heart, just like what they even share about Jesus Christ and all this. But it seems that if you talk about Jesus, if you're not filled with the Spirit, it's not going to make sense. It's craziness to people, Yeah, I don't know what you think about Christianity, but to me, true Christianity is a sincere follower that's indwelt by the Holy Spirit. There's no other way to comprehend the Word of God apart from the Holy Spirit of God. No way. No way. A dead man cannot respond to anything. You need the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Without the Holy Spirit, the Word of God, the Holy Bible, it's like if you're reading a foreign language. And I tell you because of my experience, when I used to read it, it didn't make sense until the Holy Spirit came in and drove me. I said, now I understand it. So people that fight against God, one day, the Word of God says, every knee is going to bow down and every tongue is going to confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord to the glory of God.
Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about your faith here.
Yes, sir.
And, what's important to you? Certainly appreciate that. You have a good one there.
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
right. And happy Independence Day for you as well. I mean, again, however anyone comes to their decision to participate in public life, I fully support it here. And if they're willing to share it, so much the better. But otherwise, in any case, however you are choosing to celebrate, I hope you all have a wonderful 4th of July out there. I mean, we've had a lot of talk about people having their thoughts towards it, having their, what they think about it, what makes them remember here, particularly for a day like what is coming up here on Monday, making it the true 3-day weekend. Do want to say that it is, it's personal. However you choose it, there's no particularly wrong way in my mind to celebrate the independence that we have. Even if it might be something technically someone else would disagree with, that's just a participation in the independence that we do enjoy. But I would encourage everyone to take a thought to, the journey essentially this country has been on, the American experiment in general. Because if anyone would be thinking back and it's like, it's been a totally smooth ride throughout, I need to see the book they're reading, because that is not at all what the case has actually been. It's been a bumpy ride. We've had a lot of trials, tribulations, and tests as our own as this country. And however you may think about that faith-wise, the reality of it is in our lives that it's going to continue, because that is the nature of existence on this plane and on this earth. And so take the time, please. I do sincerely mean it. Take the time with your family and reflect and enjoy it, because what we've got now has had a lot of hard fought, both literally and figuratively, battles done for it. And I hope we will sincerely continue to be able to enjoy that far off into the future. And we'll keep talking about, of course, all the issues that go into it and that shape that continued enjoyment and existence every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. right here on News Radio 690 KTSM. I've been your host, Andrew J. Polk. Want to sincerely thank everyone who did tune in, call in, comment, participate in the show. Seriously, it's not just something I say to close out each show. It's something that has come from a sincere meaning for me, because that is what makes this work, the discussion of people, both on this show and largely in our society. So stay safe out there, really. Stay safe. Look twice for motorcycles when out on the road, and have a great Independence Day and holiday weekend for you all. We'll see you next week. El Paso History Radio Show tomorrow 10 to noon.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
Gateway Boulevard westbound at Viscount, an accident that was blocking 2 right lanes, just blocking 1 right now, still causing a backup. On the 54 Patriot, northbound at Fred Wilson on the on-ramp, a crash with injuries there, medical crew on the scene. I-10 eastbound at Hawkins, an earlier crash, still blocking the left shoulder there. Joe Battle Boulevard northbound at Pelicano, a stalled vehicle blocking the right lane. Carrie Edwards, El Paso traffic.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GOLD for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's promo code GOLD. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GOLD for a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code GOLD for a $5 bonus.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Rich is just a really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes